Hey, hey. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie.
That's amore.
That's the time for cinema bias. Oh, yay. Alex, I'm so excited to talk about tonight's movie. You know what it is?
Oh man, I can't remember. I forgot. What is it?
It's Moonstruck. What? I just like doing that. It's Moonstruck, guys. We're doing Moonstruck. Hi. So, I have this thing that lets you part your hair.
You do.
It parts your hair for you. Basically, it's like a hair parter. It has this little the little arrow, and it points you in the direction that your part needs to go in, or you just decide where your part is, and then you just do that until you have a part.
Does it work?
I mean, I have a part now. If I decide my part's over here, let's try it this way. Hold on.
You know, I saw a thing on TikTok that says that you can tell a person's age by the part of their hair. Do you think that's true?
I don't think that I have a natural part, so I don't know. But see, now my part's on the other side. It's as if it was magic.
It's a very straight.
Look at how clean that part is. That's amazing.
That's a very straight line. Well done.
Yeah, so it's this little arrow thing. It was $2 on the internet, and it was amazing. Or no, maybe I bought it at CVS. Anyway, Moonstruck, Alex. Before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about what we have going on right here.
Yes.
Cinema Bias.
Absolutely.
Cinema Bias is a show where me and Alex force each other to confront our inherent biases or predispositions towards or against certain kinds of movies in an effort to just better ourselves in general, make ourselves sort of more well-rounded, educated people. And in doing so, we introduce each other to various films across different kinds of genres. Last week it was Wild Mountain Time, the weirdest Irish movie ever.
What? I don't even know. I don't consider
it is all I can think about with that film. But it led to something revelatory, which is that it was directed and written by the same guy who directed and who just wrote Moonstruck and Joe versus Volcano.
And
which are
also,
Doubt.
And
also Doubt.
Adams, Doubt.
This guy has the weirdest career of anybody I've ever thought of. If I had to think of 3 things that don't go together, it would be Joe versus Volcano, Moonstruck. Okay, I could see that. I could see how that exists in the same universe. And then you're he also wrote and directed Doubt, and you're what? Sorry, what? The one about the molesting priest thing? That's Doubt, right?
The potentially molesting priest. As far as I remember, there was never an official confirmation. There was just.
Okay. I've not seen it before, so no spoilers. I know Philip Hoffman's in it. But it just seems like a weird... You know what? This guy has a lot of Catholic guilt. I think that's the one thing that can go across all the films. What's the guy's name? The writer?
Yeah, now I feel bad. I can't remember his name. Oh, gosh. Yeah. John Patrick Stanley.
Right. This guy has a lot of guilt.
Yeah, he's only directed 4 films, as far as I remember, 3 or 4 films in his entire directorial experience. But he's more prolific, more so as a writer. I mean, he wrote Congo, one of my favorite 90s Congo. Yes, you heard me.
Congo with Tim Curry.
Congo, circa 1995.
This guy's career is fucking bonkers. Okay, I can sort of see how that works because Congo and Joe versus the Volcano both deal with the wilderness as an adventure. It's an otherism that's sort of somewhat offensive. I can see how that's in the same universe. I can see how Moonstruck and Joe versus Volcano is in the same universe. I could even see potentially how Doubt, I think, could be in the same universe as Wild Mountain Time. You know, you're either a priest that molests kids or you think you're a bumblebee. Life's difficult.
But Be whatever you want to be, kids. That's
Be whatever you want to be. But one thing I can tell you for sure is this guy definitely went to confession a lot. And Moonstruck is a great film. Alex, before you'd seen this, have you had any idea what Moonstruck was?
I knew of this movie. I've heard so much about this movie. I knew Nick Cage and Cher in the famous Slap, and I heard there was a few really weird potential sex scenes, and I just knew, I knew it was, from what I've been told, it was like one of the most Italian movies ever brought on film, and I was like, in American cinema, and I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, just you wait, it's pretty darn Italian. And I didn't know.
Alex, I really want to ask you, who do you get, like, when you do your, like, this is the people giving me movie news advice, is it just Lucas, or do you have like one other or two other people that tell you movie news, like, or give you movie news?
I'm basing this like, I have a few different group chats with a whole bunch of people, and some of them read a whole bunch of movie news, some of them are into it, some of them are not even big movie people, they're just my friends, and it's just it's a nice little eclectic mix, which I really appreciate. But they're like, yeah, if we're one of them mentioned, one of my movie buff friends, he lives out in LA, he mentioned, if I were to make a movie about, like, a top 10 movie about, like, that's centered on, like, Italian Americans specifically, Italian American culture.
This one, this is the one he recommended.
He said this movie would be in the top 10, and I was like,
I mean,
I'm not Italian.
Maybe top 10. Sure, I could see a top 10, but this movie,
yeah.
I'm starting to realize this guy is not Italian, and I don't even know if he's Irish. I think he just wants to be both of them, because it's almost like a theater kid putting on, like, accents with his.
Well, it's actually funny you say that, because the entire time there's a lot of talk of, like, Catholicism, and, like, relationship with, like, the church, and, like, there's confessions and everything, but the entire time I was like, because it kind of reminded me of a handful of movies that really focused on Jewish culture, New York Jewish culture in particular, and in terms of the conversation and pattern. And I was like, is that?
No, this is just how New Yorkers talk. Italians and Jews in New York talk basically identical. There's really no.
That's what I thought, and I was like, they feel very similar. But so I was like, maybe it's just the writer. Maybe it's because it's New York. I don't know.
No, I can just tell you right now, it's because it is New York. That is 100% what the reason is. And it's because Jews and Italians are, besides, like, the whole religion thing, are very similar. When I was a kid growing up in Delaware, no big deal. Not to flex or anything, but I had this teacher once who was like, are you Italian or Jewish? And I was like, I'm Jewish. And she's like, because you talk with your hands a lot. She's like, that's always an Italian thing or a Jew thing. And that always stuck with me, because I was like, I guess that's both of us. But yeah, Italians and Jews, I'm not even sure if in New York I could separate the two of them. Like, they really are very similar. We're both boisterous, complaining types. There's a lot of similarities.
I've been asked a whole bunch of times because obviously as you know, because I'm Thai and I'm Scottish Irish, but the thing is, I'm, like, very white passing. But the thing is, I have a lot of people that just that look at me and they're like, we don't know what you are. So I've been asked if I'm Greek. I've been asked if I'm Arab, if I'm Israeli or Palestinian. I've been asked if I'm Italian.
People just ask me that on the street. I've been asked.
I remember, like, I remember going to college, when I studied abroad a few times in college. I had a bunch of people, like, assume that I was Arab, and I was like, no, sorry.
Oh man, hold on one second.
I had a bunch of people thinking I was like I'm Brazilian, and I was like, thank you, but no.
Maybe we should just stop guessing. Maybe people should just stop guessing other people's ethnicity.
No, but especially when it's like, for a lot of people, a lot of people really like the idea of, like, ooh, can I guess you right? Like,
yeah,
it's really weird. But especially, like, watching this movie, I was like, because at first I literally thought, I was like, is this supposed to be a Jewish movie specifically, or is this supposed to be more of an Italian
just
thing?
New York.
Yeah, and I was like,
baby, we all talk like that. There's actually a very funny
about how Italian it is, but I was like, more specifically.
No, it's look. There's a difference between this and Woody Allen, but I couldn't. It'd be hard pressed for me to like find it, except like Woody Allen's a little bit more neurotic. But it's not like Woody Allen speaks for the Jews or this movie, who is not obviously written by an Italian person, speaks for all Italians. I just think culturally, especially when you're talking about the New York iterations of it, they're very similar cultures. I mean, we like the same food, all the things. But Alex, besides gross generalizations about like ethnic and religious groups, did you have any other thoughts going into this film? Did you think it was a rom-com? Did you think it was a family film?
Yeah, I definitely thought it was. I assumed going into it was going to be a rom-com, like a heavy rom-com. When I say heavy, I just thought it was going to be a very like 80s rom-com. I was like, it has Cher. Like, how heavy can it be? Because like the only idea when it comes to Cher in movies that I'm familiar with is like Mask.
Yeah, which is pretty heavy. It's like the heaviest movie of all time, though. So like that's a good example.
Burlesque and that Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. That's literally.
I was going to say, you can't forget Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Here we go again. That's going to be a 2 or 3 pointer right there in Schmoedown.
I think the director of Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again is directing the Cher biopic, which is like very funny because they clearly just met on the set of Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. It's the one that Cher's in, the second one.
Oh, she is. Oh.
I think that's the last thing I heard, and I was like, God, why? Like, you were just in that one scene, didn't you see the rest of the film? It's terrible. That's a whole other story. And this story, I would say that I think I saw this movie right out of college, I think. And I remember not being interested in it at all. I just remembered it from the posters, which just says, real quick here, guys. By the way, guys, we have Streamlabs up tonight. I forgot to say. Streamlabs.com/VideoDrew. Throw in a couple bucks. I finally got the Streamlabs working, I think. So hopefully that will be normal. Yeah. So it's like this thing. I remember Cher kind of just looking like this, kind of like waltzing around all dreamy like. Didn't really know anything about it, and I saw it. And this movie, I think, coupled with Vampire's Kiss, started my obsession with Nick Cage. I think that's where it began for me. I had a very weird an adaptation maybe, was like my in for Nick Cage.
Yeah, I definitely, yeah, absolutely. I feel like honestly, this would be a very interesting little double feature with Vampire's Kiss.
Adaptation. I think this might be my favorite Nick Cage performance. Like this and adaptation are probably my two favorite Nick Cage performances because they're both not like crazy. It's like he's acting crazy, but he's not acting like Nick Cage crazy. He's not acting the type of crazy that like we know him for, where you can like parody it, like Vampire's Kiss style. Like this movie and adaptation, I think he's doing a specific thing that shows you that he's a good actor. But before we get into all that, Alex, I'm gonna put 60 seconds on the clock. And I want you to tell me what the plot of Moonstruck is. Hold on.
Girl, I was hoping you'd forget.
Why? This is not a hard one, Alex. Let's see if we can make it past the first
I know, but I'm horrible at this shit. You know that.
It's hilarious. Come on, let's do it. Let's see. I'm going to put up the thingy that says, tell me the plot. There we go. And 1 minute on the clock, starting meow.
Right now. Okay, so Loretta, she is a woman that's widowed. She's in her mid-late 30s, and she has been dating this one guy named, I think, Johnny or something, named Johnny for some time. He ends up proposing to her, and she's like, yeah, I'm of a certain age. Cool, let's do it. And he's like, okay, now that we're officially engaged, I'm gonna go hop across the pond and visit my grandma over in Italy, in Sicily. Oh fuck, it was because she's dying. Anyway, he requests her to talk to his brother because they're estranged for a few years. She meets up with him, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're hot!" And he's like, "Yeah, let's do it." They end up having sex like within a few days of meeting each other. And he's like, "Okay, no, I'm not ever gonna be with you again because I'm engaged now." And he's like, "Fine, we'll go to the opera with me." And she's like, "Cool, let's do it. Never again, though." They have sex again, and then they're like, "Let's do it forever."
Okay. Wow, Alex. Wow, Alex, you spent a lot of time trying to remember Johnny's name. So here's you got the broad strokes, I guess. One of the things that is just like fake news, though, is that they don't have sex within a couple days of meeting. They have sex the same day they meet. He lives upstairs. They immediately just go upstairs. they only like hang out for 2 days. It's like one night and then the night after. It's a 2-day journey.
I kept thinking that I can't be that because I remember them having breakfast, like oatmeal.
Right. She hooks up with him, and then the next morning they hook up, and then the next day, that morning he goes, go to the opera with me tonight. So it's like literally a 2-day affair.
That's right. I remember she cooked him a steak, and he's like, I want a well done. And she's like, no, I'm not cooking a well done steak. Gross.
No,
and he's like,
he does.
You know,
he does well done steak.
Really good.
Let's also back up here a second. The reason that Johnny and Ronnie, his brother, are estranged is because Ronnie works at a bakery, see, and he had this fiance, see, but one day his brother comes into the bakery and asks him for some bread, and I guess Ronnie got distracted just talking to his brother and put his hand in the, I don't know, bakery grinder, the flour sifter, and his hand is lost. So he no longer has a hand, and he no longer has a bride, but now Johnny's got a hand, and Johnny's got a bride, and
it's like 5 years later, by the way.
It's maybe one of my favorite Nick Cage speeches of all time. It's so overdone. So he's just throwing around his like fake hand. Cher's like, you know what? Like, I don't think that's like really the issue here. I don't think your fiance left you because of your fake hand. I think like maybe you just had like some ish in your life, and like you just seem like a really passionate guy, and this one was probably holding you back. And like he's clearly digging her. Like he just wants to bone her immediately. But she's got all these hang-ups because her ex-husband, she's a widow, so her husband died, and she didn't want to get married again, and then she's kind of married.
And her dad doesn't want her to get married as well.
Yeah, the stakes in this are kind of like Wild Mountain Time stakes in that they're very low. Like, she could just not get married to the guy, but luckily he comes back and doesn't want to marry her anyway, so she gets to marry the brother. It's fine. Then there's like a side plot about the parents, the dad's having an affair. Did you see who the dad was?
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice like who the actor was? He's from a musical. This was driving me nuts. I was like, who's this dad? And I kept like having this one lyric stuck in my head. I was like, is he from a musical?
I'm sorry, I did not hear a word you just said. There's a weird ringing that came from my computer.
Oh no.
It was like really weird. I felt like a dog just now. Like,
oh, nice. Or not nice.
Bad. Ring, and you didn't react, so I was like, I assume it's on my end.
I didn't hear it on my end.
So sorry, I missed everything you just said.
I said, well, starting with what point?
Okay, so did you recognize who the father is?
Oh yeah, that's all I said was, did you recognize he's from a musical?
Well, yeah, well, I remember seeing okay, so something casting wise real quick, because this is a movie where I was the entire time going, hey, I know that guy. Who is that guy? Yeah, the guy with the face, you know, with the hands and the eyeballs. Like, I kept going to him.
Beyonce is also very recognizable.
With Cher's mom, played by Olympia, what's her face? I kept going. All these people look familiar.
And
what's his face?
Frasier, isn't it? The Frasier dad's in it.
All these like random little like actors, I was like, oh my gosh, they look so familiar. So I had to do quite a bit of Googling.
Wait, so NerdChronic apparently did hear that noise. I didn't hear that noise. That's weird. NerdChronic said the dogs heard it.
See? It was a weird part.
I didn't hear anything. Wait. So, Alex, though, now that you're looking at him, do you recognize this guy from a musical?
From a musical. I know it's not Gene Kelly.
It's not Gene Kelly. Correct, Alex. It's not Gene Kelly. Any other guesses?
Can you give me a hint? Can you give me a decade? Something.
It's a very similar kind of role, although it's not a dad in it. Although ostensibly in the play version he becomes a father of sorts. It is from the 80s, right? Yeah, and it stars. I don't know if I tell you who it stars. Steve Martin's in it.
A Steve Martin musical is Little Shop of Horrors.
Mm-hmm. That's Mr. Mushnick from Little Shop of Horrors. It was driving me nuts. I'm not sure if any of you other musical fans out there were like, is that Mr. Mushnick? And so now I'm here to tell you it is. So again, a character that is playing Italian in one movie and a Jew in another. I don't know what my point is here, folks. But
it just gets back to, is he Jewish or is he an Italian? Or is he an Italian Jewish person?
There was even a stage sketch called The Jew, the Italian, and the Redhead Gay, and it was about them all living together on Avenue A, which is downtown New York. So it's a whole melting pot. But the dad is having an affair with a floozy. And,
her name is Mona.
Mona, whatever. Mona Schmoedown. Olympia Dukakis, is that her name? Yeah, is the mom.
Oh, I love her.
She's so good. Although for a second I thought it was Olympia.
The Oscar.
It's not Olympia Dukakis. Who is it? Yeah, that's her name. I thought it was it's the other Olympia that I got, or the other Dukakis I got her confused for, the younger woman. And I was like, wait, what? It's not whatever her name is. But this is, they both won Oscars. Both her and Cher won Oscars.
She did? I didn't know she did.
As well as a screenwriter. This was a big year. This was the year that Cher showed up in the movies, like at the Oscars. She showed up like in a crazy way. I think this was the year she wore the crazy dress.
That's not the crazy dress. The year after was the crazy dress. She wore the crazy dress.
That was like the before party. But like the Cher Moonstruck dress, I think was pretty famous. Let me Google it.
She was like a presenter at that year, where she wore like the big feathers on her hair and everything.
I'm talking about the one where it was see-through. You know what I'm talking about? The one was kind of
I guess not. Maybe I guess I'm thinking of a very much different one.
There we go.
One was like it's black with feathers.
It was the one with the hairs where she did the weird hair. Here it is. This was Cher at the Oscars, the year of Moonstruck. Boom.
Oh gosh, she is so beautiful.
Can you just imagine having that sort of chutzpah, to use the term, like to just show up at the Oscars being like, "That's baby." That's,
you know what? If I had her body and that confidence, fuck yes, girl, you get it. Okay.
Do you believe in life after love? It's one of those songs I love singing, but it also probably upsets the dogs. I can feel something inside me. Do you believe in life after love? After love, after love. Okay, I don't want to get the channel flagged, but I think that song particularly speaks to this movie. That song is about this movie because this is about a woman who believes she already had the love of her life. He died. It's in the past. Now she's going to get married out of convenience. And then she meets the brother of the guy she's supposed to marry, and life just sort of takes a turn. It's sort of the opposite of Wild Mountain Time in a way.
Yeah, she's in this situation where she is definitely she's in her like mid late 30s, by no means old, but everyone treats her old.
And she's got like this fake gray hair that's weird.
Yeah,
like,
she's always she's always gray hair and everything. I guess someone can be a dick and be like, argue, no, she looks like she's definitely in her 40s or something like that. Like, are you fucking kidding me with that skin? Oh, fuck off.
Well, it's also like, who cares? Like, 40 is not old. That's somebody.
Yeah.
40 is not that old. You will get there sooner than you think. Okay. Is that the noise again?
It happened again.
I can hear it.
What the fuck?
Do you guys in the audience hear that? Send in some super chats and some donations if you heard that noise that Alex is talking about. The dog's here at this time? So,
am I a dog?
Are you possibly a dog? Alex, I want to hear your thoughts on Nick Cage specifically in this movie because he's a whole mood.
Okay, him in this movie is actually really, really interesting because when they when they were actually putting together this movie and they were like, okay, we got the director, we got Cher, this is going to be her big moment. It's going to be fantastic. Let's put in Nick Cage. Apparently, the studios didn't want Nick Cage. Apparently, he had a really awful screen test. The chemistry test was non-existent, supposedly, and everyone wanted him to back away from the film. No one wanted him. He actually was starting to doubt himself, but Cher was like, no, he needs to be my opposite in this.
That's
and
so
I totally understand why. They also kind of look related, which is kind of weird. Because like, if you look at some of the other pictures, they look like they could be cousins or something.
Well, and he's famously a Coppola cousin, so
yeah. Like they both had like similar eyes. Like the maybe it's because the shadowy eyes underneath, the very deep set eyes, these bold, gorgeous brows, thick, dark, gorgeous hair. And
he's so gorgeous. I have to say something. I have like such a spot
like longer noses. It's like, and they both have very like small mouths, if that makes sense. Very small mouths. Like,
yeah.
like small
real Jew-Italian mouths on this.
They do have both very small mouths. But anyway, I just remember watching that. I'm like, they literally could be like first or second cousins and just not realize it. But yeah, so watching them in this movie interact, honestly, I feel like the chemistry was like pretty fantastic. I thought it was really fun. But the Nick Cage was what made this movie a rom-com to me.
Yeah, like, I mean, Nick Cage is, like I said, this is probably the only time you will hear this, but this is the first time I've ever found Nick Cage, and only time I find Nick Cage like sexually attractive. Like he is so, you can almost smell him through the screen in this movie, and it's so good. It's like, you know, he smells like bread and sweat. He's like a proto Adam Driver in this movie. That's what it is. He's like what Adam Driver is to us now. He's probably why I had a neurotic dream about Adam Driver last night, is because I watched him. Yeah.
I actually mentioned that to Lucas. I was like, I wonder what it smells like in that.
Oh, you know it. You know that this movie smells.
I wonder how weird it smells.
Oh God, you have no idea how much this movie wafts. Like you waft a fume.
Yeah, this movie, okay. Whereas I feel like I said, when it comes Nick Cage, this movie he makes it a rom-com. Whereas if you replace them, say, with another actor, I don't know.
I don't know who could have done this role. You need that little bonkersness.
But I mean, like, I don't know. Let's say hypothetically it was Michael Keaton or something, like, whatever. But that would be weird. But
I don't know if he could play Italian.
Very different vibe. I feel like it would have been more of a dramedy rather than a rom-com, because there's a lot of darker, dramatic moments in this movie, honestly, with some upbeat themes and everything, and especially with the ending. But him and his ridiculous monologues and weird rants is what makes it a weird rom-com.
Yeah. I think the focus on I think you're exactly right. This movie almost veers towards more of like a family drama at first. Like you just feel like this is, it's about this family, and she's not in love with the fiance. The fiance beats are funny. It's what's his name? That guy. It's just that very famous dude. Fiance. It's not Danny Aiello. It's just the guy who looks like him. Johnny Camilleri, who's played by.
Danny Aiello. I can't even pronounce his name. Aiello.
It is Danny Aiello. Is that him? Oh, hold on.
Yeah,
it's like the guy that we all know.
The right thing.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so I did have it right. I just can't pronounce his name. It's Danny Aiello from Do the Right Thing. He's fiance. He's a mama's boy. He's obsessed with his mom, who's got these, it's got these funny beats where you're like, okay, the mom's dying, but she's obviously not really dying. He's got to go to Sicily and take care of his mom, and suddenly the moment she hears that they're engaged, she gets better, and suddenly, in his timeline of events, he can't get married anymore because the mom needs him to be there. And so when he comes back to town, he's like, sorry, I can't marry you, baby. And so you can tell this is ending in a very Shakespearean, upbeat way, because not even the fiance is jilted. Sort of like John Hamm at the end of Wild Mountain Thyme. He's fine. He'll land on his feet. It was his decision.
Maybe that's one of the big themes for all of Sanders' movies. It's just a lot of possible engagements, but that never follow through.
Yeah, I mean, Drew vs. Volcano is funny because it's Meg Ryan playing 3 different characters, and he only hooks up with the third one, but he likes the other 2. It's funny, there's just 3 different timeline versions of Meg Ryan in it. It's cute. But I think I like all 3 of these movies specifically, and specifically Joe and Moonstruck, because they do kind of follow this funny beat, where after a while you can tell what kind of movie you're watching, and for me at least, you can relax, because you can tell that this movie is not going to try to do something devastating. It's hitting the beats of a 30 Rock episode. It's hitting sitcom-y beats. So you're like, okay, we're all going to be fine here. We're going to be awesome. Everything's good.
Mm-hmm. Especially in that final scene in the kitchen. It felt like a play. I was like, I wish I could see this as a play. It was perfect.
Right. I mean, he wrote out.
At first, I thought, this is actually kind of slow in some scenes, but then it was picking up, and then that scene, I was like, this is one of my favorite scenes in a rom-com right now.
Yeah, it's kind of got this very slapstick
together, and you're like, everyone in this scene is focused on cheating, being cheated on, is cheating, or whatever it is. and it's just so weird. Or
I mean, I don't remember there being a subplot where she was supposed to take money to the bank. It's like they kind of threw this thing at the end where you're like, you have to have a reason for like the parents' friends to also be involved in their lives, because the parents' friends work this like Greek chorus. You know. By the way, that guy that plays the husband of like the family friend that's a dude, and she's like, he's looking out the window because he remembers, or no, it's the brother, right? Because it's the mom's brother, because he's like remembers when she was being courted by the Mr. Mushnick, and he saw the moon, and he thought that he brought the moon to her house because he was like spying on his lovely bride to be. And then later he sees the moon again, and everyone sees the moon, and that's where Moonstruck comes from, I guess, is like the idea of falling in love under the bright moonlight. But then when he sees the moon again, his wife goes, in this moonlight, you almost look like you're 25 years old again. And it's, for some reason, the most moving line ever, because even though this is a 65-year-old guy, the moment she says it, his face kind of transforms in this way. He gets this very gentle, wistful look on his face, and it's like very romantic, and like you see it for like a second, you see how he looked at 25, and it's like this beautiful kind of transcendent moment of just like face acting.
I absolutely agree. There is that moment, as well as there was another moment when Cher, her character, Loretta went to the liquor store, and she witnesses like the couple like fighting at the register, and she's like, I saw the way you were looking at her. You looked like a wolf. And he's like, what does a wolf look like? And she's like, I don't know. I just recognize it when I see it, kind of thing. And she's like, I see the way you're looking at her. And he's like, well, how do I look at you? And she's like, I don't know. How do you look at me? I look at you like you're my wife. Yeah. And they go in for a kiss, and she's like, oh, and I was like,
and that's a consistent thing. This wolf thing is like a metaphor that keeps coming up, because the mom also makes the metaphor that the dad is being like a wolf because he's obviously cheating with her. Mm-hmm. And then Cher uses it to Nick Cage to say that like your fiance didn't leave you because you lost an arm. You're like a wolf, and you gnawed your way out of a trap, and like you knew that she was bad for you. And so she takes that metaphor of like the lone wolf or the cheating wolf like husband, and she kind of like twists it around to like serve her purposes. But we know where she's got it from, because she's overheard it twice now over the course of like a day. Now, there's also a grandfather character. So it's Cher's grandfather, who's Italian, who has a bunch of dogs, who sees the mom when she's the movie opens, by the way, let's back up. The movie opens, and it's the dad from Frasier getting dumped on a date. And later, that guy's going to come back because he's going to see Olympia Dukakis at the dinner eating alone, because her husband's at the opera with Mona, where he will run into Cher and Nick Cage, and they'll all have to do like a comedy of errors and pretend they didn't see each other and do this kind of weird lie about it. But she ends up getting courted sort of by, sorry?
Oh, that's why he says, I didn't see nothing.
Yeah, when he talks about the pipes is amazing. He's like, he loves giving speeches like because he fixed copper pipes for a living. Anyway, so she's on a date, or she's up by herself, and she runs into the dad from Frasier, who's looking very sexy and very young. Even this movie's just full of sex. I don't know. They can make the dad from Frasier look hot. And he's sort of like a Lothario kind of type. He's just like a ladies' man. And he's sort of falling for her.
Yeah, he is. I was also like kind of pissed at him because I kept thinking, I'm like, you're talking about this situation like you're right, he is a total Lothario, but at the same time I'm like, you're a professor and you're talking about asking out your students.
Oh no, he's a creep.
No, he can't do that. That's no.
I think we're supposed to show.
Yeah, so like
he's never supposed to be a viable love interest. It's almost like in a Nancy Meyer film.
Absolutely.
He's supposed to represent the fact that she is not just some henpecked henpecking wife who's like at home and like doesn't get a character arc of her own. I think why she won the Oscar and like a credit to the screenwriters, he's like, no, this lady has her own life and she is still like attractive to men, and just because her husband's out fucking around doesn't mean that like she can't have her own like side piece. And so this option is presented to her. This guy and her are walking home together, and he takes her arm, and then who does they run into on the corner but her father-in-law? And he sees them, they see him. She never ends up doing anything with this guy. She doesn't invite him up, but he like kisses her on the cheek. And that's the last we'll ever see or hear from this character. Like, it's just to show you that the mom has made a choice to stay with her husband, and she's like not doing it because she's stuck. She's doing it because she like loves him and wants to.
And she also says it's because I know better. I know who I am.
Yeah, kind of the opposite choice that her daughter makes in this movie, because her daughter like keeps saying I should know better than doing that, but she just does what she wants.
Well, I think because there's a certain confidence as well. Cher doesn't have that. I mean, that Cher doesn't have that. Olympia's characters does as like this older, established mother, wife versus Loretta. She's, obviously she's a single woman. She's living with her parents. She's very established in the community. She's like incredibly intelligent and everything. But
what did she do? Did she have a job?
She works at a local. I don't even know what.
Oh, she works at the grocery store, right?
No, she doesn't. No, she works, or maybe she has multiple jobs. I'm not entirely sure.
She works with her parents. Maybe she forgets to deposit the money.
Yeah, but it was for the. She also worked as like some kind of like management role at the funeral home.
Oh, is that what it was? A funeral home?
Yeah,
maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I thought it was a grocery store.
Going on in the background, and it's also funny because later on it's like, oh, why do we cheat? Because we're scared of death.
Oh wow, I forgot that.
And you see, it's like, and the guy that works at the funeral home, and he's like, see, I make them better. He's talking about like why, oh my gosh, these people are complaining about me being so expensive. I make them look better than they ever looked in their entire life. And
that's right. It's got that dark undertone. How did I forget it was a funeral home? I must have like looked away from the camera and forgot that. So I thought, right, of course, the whole movie kind of has this dark undertone about death. Her husband's dead. She's like talks about it, like she's watching the opera with Nick Cage, and she starts crying at one point. It's very like Better Than Pretty Woman scene, but like equivalent of like her being so moved by this operatic experience. Here's Olympia Dukakis and the very sexy Dan from Frasier. He is very sexy. I don't know what to tell you, NerdChronic. He's a fucking sex pot. Everyone, they make Danny Aiello look like somebody who would be viable for like a Bill Pullman-esque role. And it's Danny Aiello, so we can't even pronounce his name.
He has he's such a weird, funny character because when his character in particular is like first introduced, he's kind of played up as like this really attractive bachelor. Everyone in the community kind of knows him. I mean, there's a bakery named after him. Even like the servers being, he's like, and she tells him
he's a nice boy.
He's a nice guy. And he's when she tells him, it's like, if you're gonna propose to me, get down on one knee. And he's like, in this ruined the suit. This suit is new. And he does it. And the servers is like, but that suit is new. Why is he kneeling? Why the fuck
I think what I think it is. I think weirdly, I think this role is kind of miscast. Although I love him in the role, I think this guy's supposed to be a lot more nebbish. Like Danny Aiello is heavy. He can play heavy. He plays like gangsters. He plays mobsters. I even think Sal, for the right thing, is like the nicest character that he ever played outside of this. He always plays like bad guys. Yeah. So this character's supposed to be like a really like, neurotic type who's like a real mama's boy. But you're getting this real thick dude to play your mama's boy. It's kind of funny.
And no one other than Nick Cage's character, really tells him you let mama control your life, you mama's boy kind of thing. And
you see for a second that like Nick Cage
just tells him you just don't love mom. It's like what?
Now I want to talk about like a very iconic scene in this movie that you mentioned earlier. Snap out of it. This is the morning after these two met. They sleep with each other immediately in a way that I can see. Yes, people could say it's very problematic. It's one of those emblematic at the times. Like it's sexy to watch, but it's problematic to think about that they're like fighting in his house. He's basically a stranger. He gets so angry he like overturns a table and like starts screaming at her and then just grabs her and just starts kissing her. And you're like, that's so hot, but also like non-consensual. But then she likes it, but like it's very like passionate. It's very like animalistic, and it's very
carnal,
very erotic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I think it just comes down to that scene in particular is definitely a movie that it's very much a scene of the times. And they also have these personalities that I think that could almost exclusively go well with each other because they're both very vocal, they're both very opinionated, and they're both okay with telling their partner to shut the fuck up if needed. I mean, let's be honest.
He says he loves her the next morning, one day after knowing her, and she slaps him in the face and goes, "Snap out of it."
And well, even Olympia, Cher's mom, even mentions like you come across as an intimidating creature. It's just the personality. Being a woman.
You said earlier that Lucas said this was a very Drew-like movie. Do you think that's what he meant?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was just the vibe of the movie as well. And I remember asking him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like Drew." And I was like, "Oh."
You know what it is? I think it's both confrontational in the way that I'm confrontational, which is argumentative, while still having like the no stakes, like nobody's really mad at each other, like people just like arguing for the sake of arguing. And it's a very specific niche of people just being contrary without being hostile that I really require for having an easy viewing experience.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I personally am. It's something I'm actually actively trying to not do personally. But the thing is, I personally have a really horrible habit of seeking out conflict, even when it's not necessary. So if I hear something and I'm like, if I hear something that's incorrect and I'm like, I don't need to correct him. It doesn't mean anything. It won't do anything if I correct this person, even if it's something small. Oh, this movie was released in 2000. I want to be like, no, it's 1997. It was 1997. But I naturally want to correct people all the time, even if it serves no purpose to the conversation.
And I gotta say that's not a great quality, but you know what?
I know that's why I try to stop myself. It's something I'm working on all the time.
You're well, actually, but you know what's even worse is what I am, which is a knee-jerk no but. It's the opposite of yes and. It's like terrible improv where I don't have a stance. I don't think objectively I'm correct about anything. In fact, I don't even know the words that are about to come out of my mouth. You say something, and my impulse is to say no, but, and then to just push against it like a devil's advocate, like and just say it's like a Socratic method. It's how I learn stuff. It's like you say something and I go, yeah, but what about this? Like no, but like what if this happened? Or like no, I don't think that. It drives everybody nuts. NerdChronic is probably a good example. It happened recently. Just where like you just say a declarative statement and I go, yeah, no, but like here's the thing. Or here's a good example. Today's Candyman trailer dropped, right? And like me and Lon were talking about it on Twitter, and I was like, oh man, they're really going with like the marketing slogan for this movie is "Say His Name," which is like, wow, that's like a pretty bold, like that's an audacious move to make to tie that into like the Black Lives Matter movement so concretely to make a say his name. And then Lon's like, yeah, that's kind of like that's an intense move. They could have gone in a different direction. They could have like not emphasized the saying like Candyman 5 times in the mirror. And I went, actually? So I came up with the original point and I said, you know what? Actually, no, it's a great idea because they need to focus on how you need to say his name a bunch because technically that came before, any of the recent political issues, but it ties it back into the political issues while showing that it's still like relevant. If you show it in the trailer that the naming stuff is important, then it differentiates itself from like the Karen movie, which is like a cash grab sort of, historical black trauma, get out sort of wannabe. Like Candyman, it's distinguishing itself by focusing on that say his name stuff, but also saying, okay, well that's an integral part of the lore that's already existed since before this, the current cultural climate, but see how relevant it is in today's landscape. And by choosing, like, instead of it to be a white woman, female character like Virginia Madsen, who sort of has a romantic thing with the Candyman, we're getting it shifted to a black man who's like, channeling historic trauma with this embodiment of Candyman, it seems like. And so I argued my way into disagreeing with my own original premise, like on the internet. I had a Twitter war with myself, basically, to come around 180 on say his name is actually a great marketing slogan for Candyman.
I definitely agree. I agree with you. It's for when I watched the trailer, because I knew it's going to be a political film, and I mean art is inherently political, obviously. But in particular,
But yes.
Absolutely. Some much more obvious and some much more very specific than others. And anyway, but off topic. But in terms of Candyman in particular, I mean, they talk about how a man was literally put to death by a bunch of cops that didn't put him on trial, and
he was killed without a trial,
he turned out to be innocent as well. But so it's kind of and it's so going into it, I was like, obviously we're going to go this route, but that's another conversation for another day. In particular,
I think that's right. I think the thing about Candyman that they're trying to, not to do another thing, but I think the thing about Candyman was it was always about that. Deciding to reboot it right now is a choice, but I think that was in the works before, last summer. I think that it's just it just shows as opposed to I think some of this other stuff that's coming out now that people have issues with, like that Lena Waithe produced show that came out with them or whatever. People say just capitalizes on Black trauma. I feel like Candyman's actually trying to say a statement and also say, guys, this is the one horror movie that's always been about Black trauma and the Black experience. We've always watched it from the white person's gaze. Anyway.
Yeah, very specific to the Black experience for sure. And I'm excited.
I think saying his name is such a crazy, bold thing for a horror movie to flex right now.
We should just have a podcast show where we just break down trailers exclusively. Good trailers, bad trailers. This week in trailers.
You know what? I've got a lot to say about Moonstruck, but apparently I've got more to say about the marketing team over at.
You know what? We can break down some marketing campaigns. It's all good. Those are fun.
Also, not to delve too much more into the Candyman trailer, but I do love that this is hitting a very specific niche that the Dan Gilroy movie Velvet Buzzsaw also hit, which is oh, I'm sorry. You said you wanted art house horror. We misunderstood the prompt. We took that literally. It's horror that takes place inside an art gallery. This is just art house horror.
I love it. I love it, and I love how they worked with I can't remember the artist that I remember they brought this artist on board to do the paper lighting.
Oh, that stuff is crazy. Sorry. Kill it. Oh my god. 1 second.
In that case, hey y'all.
Jesus Christ.
So Moonstruck, going back to Moonstruck though, similar to Candyman, has a lot of very similar themes in terms of trauma through the generations, as well as family repeating certain behaviors. And so, as you notice from
I'm sorry. I'll mute myself for a second because there's a big black bee in here and it's going to
So, but in Moonstruck in particular, what I think is really interesting is how different generations, especially different genders, really cope with the aspect of cheating, whether it comes down to being cheating on someone else, a partner, or witnessing an act go down. Is it if it's some do you say something? Do you not say something? Is it okay? At what point should you get involved? Should you not get involved? It can be a very personal thing.
Yeah.
So, I'm just monologuing over here. So, but so when it comes to that, I'm kind of curious of what you guys over in the chat think. When it comes to cheating, if you witness a friend or family member being potentially cheating on their partner with someone else, you don't actually see it. You just see a suspicious date or something situation. Oh, I see Carly over there. She shared some mozzarella sticks with.
Okay, I'm gonna unmute myself. I can't seem to find it. Eric thinks I'm crazy. It was a big black bee. It was horrifying. I hate it.
That'd be really interesting timing though.
I didn't know black bees were a thing. Have you guys heard of black bees? Let me just pull up a picture real quick, not to get too off topic.
No,
but,
I don't want to look at black bees. I don't want to look at black bees. No.
Okay, so you close your eyes. I need to show people that this is a real thing. This took 25 minutes to kill the other day, and I cannot deal with another one. I cannot. Okay, this is a black bee. They're about 4 sizes larger than a regular bee. just to give you a sense of things, and this is what was just in the room. Hold on. Alex, look away. I'll tell you when you can look again. Alex, I'll tell you when you can look again. Okay, hold on. Okay, so everyone. Okay, I took it off screen.
Oh.
Okay, it's gone.
You laugh now.
I laugh now, but like when that thing comes back, I'm just gonna start screaming again. I swear to God, this thing fought back. Like this thing brought an arsenal. Like I killed it like 8 times. It just kept coming back stronger. Someone says NerdChronic, you are a trailer. But yeah, Nick Cage in this movie, you can smell him. He's my favorite speech in this movie, not to go to like my favorite part of it. Yes, cheating is wrong. Clearly this movie posits that cheating is wrong because the dad is being a schmuck. And when the dad sees his daughter like with another guy at the opera, and they both kind of tacitly agree we never saw each other, it feels like both a betrayal of the mom, but also like, you know, he didn't even like the fiance. The dad didn't like the fiance, so what does he care? Like, it just feels like a messy kind of situation. I'm not sure if it was totally thought through in terms of the messaging of it. Like, it is okay for her to be not cheating, but like, yeah, cheating on her fiance because the relationship is not a relationship of love. It's like a relationship of convenience that they're both kind of dragging their feet into. And like the her passion, and like she has this great speech where he goes like, why are you getting married to my brother? And she's like, because like, you know, I waited and the guy, you know, never showed up. Like my husband died. And he goes, well, I'm here now. And she goes, you're too late. Like, or like you came late, you know? It's like I butchered it, but like she's like, he never showed up, and he's like, I'm here now, and she's like, you're late. And it's this beautiful moment of like, she wants to stay true to like her Catholic roots and like the idea of staying true to her fiance, but like there's just clearly the connection between her and Nick Cage is so palpable, while her and Danny Aiello feel more like she's like his older sister.
Mm-hmm. Especially not since they look so much alike.
I want this movie to be remade, I think, with Adam Driver as the Nick Cage role.
I would love to see that happen. I could totally see him as like a weird baker and everything. I can picture him very
I lost my
sexy.
man. I lost my wife.
But I can't picture him in a rom-com in particular. I can't really picture him as like in a romantic comedy situation. I've never seen him be
Girls?
like no.
That was basically his role in Girls. He was just like the.
I just remember being told he was a real dick about it.
No, him in Girls was definitely like a quirky rom-com. He also, yeah, like this was him when he was this was like the beginning of him, was like him in the Lena Dunham show. I know this show very well because we went to college together. But I would just love to see him. Like he played this character named Adam, who was like couldn't really express himself very well. He was like an actor, but he was also kind of like a layabout, kind of a loser kind of guy, but he was very passionate and had like a lot of feelings, and could sometimes border on stuff that it was not okay violently, or like his sexual hang-ups. And like it was a show that, you know, for all its faults, really delved into some of the dynamics of young hipster couples and in that sense. And I feel like he could totally play this character. He can.
I absolutely agree. I definitely think he can. I just haven't seen him in that role, but I 100% believe you. I've seen him in a few other roles where his comedy is much more subtle. And I have seen him also in random scenes from SNL. And so obviously he's comfortable getting physical, which I really adore. But
if I show you what Adam Driver was like back in the day, it's like, you tell me this is not Nick Cage's character in the movie? Like, him just pushing some shit over, like getting mad and
not wrong.
Yeah.
Can I submit a name for a potential recasting?
Okay, go ahead.
Miles Teller
would make a good fiance. Miles Teller. Oh, you know what? He is good though. He would be very good.
Okay, and I say that because not only do I think he loves getting physical with the roles, he's okay with being shirtless and everything. He's a very attractive guy, but he can get weird and very rom-com-y. I've seen him in a handful of movies where I'm like, you went there, and I respect the fuck out of that. I know he has like quite a
I just have another thought about one I want. So I like your pick, but I have another thought as well. I like Miles Teller for it because I thought it's funny, like him in the Spectacular Now meets him in Whiplash would make a perfect combo. I just think, like, I personally don't like Miles Teller as a person.
Oh, 100%.
That's hard.
Yeah.
You know who should be him? I'm not sure how familiar you are with this guy, but 100% it needs to be Jason Mantzoukas. That's the guy.
He's familiar.
Jason Mantzoukas, he does that podcast, How Did This Get Made? He's in a lot of movies. He was in John Wick 3. He's very famous. He's got this really crazy gravelly voice that goes up and down. This is him. Hold on. He is Greek, but he plays Indian a lot, I feel like. He was on the show Legion. Help me out here, guys. Man. The guy from The League. And I could totally see him doing the, like, I lost my hand, I lost my bride, Johnny's got his hand, Johnny's got his bride.
No, okay, that would be just straight comedy. Straight comedy. It wouldn't be.
He was actually in a drama that I think he helped write or like produce, at least, that came out. It was like an indie thing. It was about a homeless guy. It's a very like Nick Cagey kind of role where he was like a homeless student who kind of
love this guy. He's fantastic. He's so
he's authentic. He's in that show Invincible. He does a lot of voice acting. But I think he's very, very sexy. I think he's got this he's got that attitude where he's so confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I really love him in Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well. He's great.
Wait, and his role in Brooklyn Nine-Nine is very similar to Nick Cage. Like, his relationship with Rosa is very similar, right?
Yeah, he's really fantastic. And the thing is, again, I haven't seen him in any outside of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I feel like that movie's more comedy rather than a romance, honestly.
But him and Rosa's relationship is very sexy.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely believe you as far as, like, being sexy. I just have a hard time visualizing him playing up the romance and really believing him as far as, like, how, like having that moment where we look into each other's eyes and where I'm like where he tells someone that they're a wolf, and, well, you're a wolf. No, you're a wolf. You're the one coming out.
I could see it.
Kind of thing.
Man, I don't know. I could see it because he's got that thing where, look, I've even found it. Sorry for finding all the dips tonight, guys, but that's apparently what I'm going to be doing while getting off topic. This whole thing with him and Rosa was very sexy. Him on The Good Place playing Derek on The Good Place was very good. Like, look, sexual tension intensifies.
No, just have Rosa be.
Hey,
just have her play the character. I don't need a man to do it. I would love to see a badass Lady Baker, being
a funeral home director. Like, Rosa, just these two recast in Moonstruck. Just end of story. That's the tweet.
I would love to also see her in that Cher remake, to be honest.
I mean, honestly, can I be honest? That's like the best thing I've ever come up with. I wonder while they were casting, can we do it if we could turn back time sing along? No, but we can do. You know what? If we get a $20 donation, we will do a Cher sing along. How about that? We'll do it if we get this. We're at $4 now. Dreamlabs. No, hold it, Alex. Let's save it for don't give it away for free.
Just give it away. Teaser.
So if we get $20, guys, streamlabs.com/VideoDrew, or you can super chat it. We will do a Cher sing-along and probably get copyrighted and pulled down, but it's fine. You know what I was looking at today, Alex, Hey, girls, stop it. Sorry. Let me mute myself while I yell at the dogs. I was looking at other Cher stuff that I used to really love. Like you said, Mask is one of them. Witches of fucking Eastwick. Have you seen that movie?
I love Witches of Eastwick.
That movie is my shit. That movie's great. That is my Key and Peele as those two guys, like the two bellhops, being like, my Liam Neeson's. That's me with like Witches of Eastwick. I'm like, those are my witches.
Did you see Cher with those her artists? She's artist and her dolls coming in.
It's her, Susan Sarandon, and Michelle Pfeiffer as who are linked with the devil, and the devil is Jack Nicholson, and none of them have ever been sexier, including Jack Nicholson. Daryl Van Horn. Did we do that movie for Cinema Bias?
I love that movie. Yeah, I mean, we definitely could.
No, but we both seen it. I asked if we do it already. I couldn't remember if that was one we picked. No.
We're next week would be Joe versus the Volcano since I haven't seen it.
No, I was asking. I was wondering if we had done it. I just couldn't remember if I saw the Sports Cinema bias or if we just knew about it from other places. But we haven't covered it before, right? Yeah.
No, I love that movie. That movie's just
I love it so much.
Weirdness. I love it.
If you want to see Susan Sarandon, I know people say Rocky Horror Picture Show is the sexiest Susan Sarandon's ever been, but y'all haven't even gotten to the fucking Witches of Eastwick. I even had one of our male roommates, Anthony, who has very good taste and stuff, was watching Witches of Eastwick the other day, and he was like, this movie can get it. Like, this movie can absolutely get it. Damn, Susan Sarandon.
Seriously, there, and I also love. I mean, like this is going to turn into Witches of Eastwick like fan episode.
Why not? Let's do it.
Because Susan Sarandon, not only is she absolutely stunning in this movie, and it's a really wonderful like transformation. I don't want to say like it's not because it's not a makeover scene.
Oh wait. It says that we got a donation. It says "Sing for the People." Oh man, that was from NerdChronic. Okay, so we'll wait to the end, and we are going to have a Cher sing-along.
Okay. But to this movie in particular, thank you, Eric, by the way.
Eric.
I do like that it's not made out to be like a makeover kind of thing. They all achieve their makeovers because they do they find their confidence in themselves, they find motivation, and they find like a new oh my gosh, they
also find a way to make a woman vomit up cherry pits as a form of like, because they become witches. So basically, they find themselves like doing this stuff and like doing a ritual accidentally that summons the devil. But then they're like his harem for a bit, and then they decide, fuck this, we're stronger without the devil. And I can't believe it, but I think it's based on a Cheever story, Cheever or Raymond Carver. But it's based on one of those like uptight, male authors. And ooh, we got a Joe Crawford donation saying, okay, you guys want to hear it now? Alex, I don't remember all the lyrics.
I don't know all the lyrics. I'm
playing right now.
Let me find the lyrics.
I got it.
If I could turn down.
Yeah, I got it. Lyrics. Come on, guys. Lyrics. Rap genius. There we go. If I could turn back time, if I could find a way. And then I can't remember how the rest of it. I take back those words that hurt you and you'd stay. I don't remember how that part goes. How's the rest of the song go? I know the Believe in Love one better.
No.
I didn't really mean to hurt you.
Know why I did the things I did.
There we go.
I don't know why I said the things I said. Pride's like a knife. I don't know.
Oh, wait, is that how it goes?
I don't know.
Words are like weapons, they wound sometimes. Oh, I don't know how this goes. If I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd take back the words that hurt you, you'd stay. Can we just do the other song that I know very well? Guys,
like
okay, guys, if we just do Believe in Life, because that was the one I watched the music video for. Believe in Life After Love. That's the one I know very well. It's going to be great when YouTube can't even copyright and take this down because it's clearly not the song. Okay, this one I can do. Love it. LOL, says Joe. Okay, I got it. Okay, so this one starts out, and she's like in the city, and like the city street's going back really fast, and it goes, after love, after love, after love, after love, after love. No matter how hard I try, you keep pushing me aside. I can't break through. There's no talking to you. So sad that you're leaving. It takes time to believe it. But after all is said and done, you're gonna be the lonely one. Do you believe in life after love, after love, after love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think you're strong enough now. Do you believe in life after love, after love, after love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think keep going.
What am I
Supposed to do? Sit around and wait for you. Well, I can't
do that. There's no turning back. I need time
to move on. I need love to be strong. Cause I have time to think it through. And maybe I'm too good for you.
Oh,
Do you believe that's the love, that's the love, that's the love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think you're strong enough now. Do you believe in love, that's the love, that's the love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think you're strong enough now. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do. Is that worth it?
That's a workout. That is a vocal workout.
I also forgot that there's a lag. So like it's like karaoke, so that you can't do it at the same time because you're like it's not gonna sync up because everyone's on like a half second delay. But hope you guys enjoyed that. Is there another Cher song that's like very famous? I know that she's very.
I just keep thinking of "I've Got You, Babe."
Oh yeah.
Babe.
Well, speaking of which, I never realized this. I just put this together, but she must have very much related to that character, considering. Oh, Sonny Bono hadn't died yet. Oh shit. Had he? Had he been in the skiing accident yet? Because like her husband Sonny was killed in a skiing accident. Sonny Bono.
I knew they were divorced by the time.
Maybe, but like it was like the love of her life. Let's see. Oh, I forgot that he was a Republican congressman. That's strange. Oh man, it's so sad. Yeah, he definitely was married to her. They divorced. You're right. They divorced in. Wait, they got married, divorced. Yeah, and then he had 2 more wives. He died in 1986. What year did this movie come out?
1987.
Sorry, 1998. Sorry, he just had another wife. Sorry about that. No, he died in 1998, so he was not dead yet. Yikes. Sorry about that. But I just feel like there's a nice parallel there. Not nice, but like her ex-husband dying in this tragic way, the person that she was most associated with, like in her career. Yeah, it's sad. I feel like that's maybe what Believe in Life is about, because that came out the same year. Believe came out the same year that Sonny Bono died. Sad. And it was also the first one to use auto-tune. I knew that. Because that song and the one where the woman's like, and I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it up. I don't know what you call them. They're like, and I wake every morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high.
Oh, you want to hear a funny little tidbit? My dad and I. Okay, so that song is played over a He-Man video for 9 hours straight. My dad and I.
Sorry, your dad danced.
My dad and I danced our father-daughter dance to that song.
Oh, that's beautiful.
No, to the remix where it's like, and take outside and I'll take a deep breath and
wait, why that song? What was that song symbolizing?
What?
What did that song symbolize? Why was that the father-daughter song? Because like father-daughter songs are loaded. People don't understand how hard it is.
Because we danced to it because it was just the video is just something we crack each other up. It was like it was like a video that I showed my dad and we watched it all the time.
I love that video.
Like, my dad got the biggest kick out of like He-Man with that song over it. It is hilarious.
Today I was watching the bad lip dubs that they used to have. They used to have so many more of them where the guy did music, but he can't do it anymore, or he had to take the videos down. But like terrible lip dubs was my jam. Going back to the idea though, father-daughter dances, weirdly loaded, and no one talks about it. How hard it is to find, unless you're into country. It's so hard to find a song that doesn't involve kissing or love, but is like has the right tempo for the father-daughter dance.
I kind of beg to differ. I mean, it can be difficult.
I'm trying to think like one song.
It can definitely be difficult. I remember it also by extension. I remember when for Lucas and I when we were trying to figure out a song for our first dance. We were like, we just don't want it to be like clearly about sex, and we don't want it to be like about cheating or anything. We're like, we're not gonna listen to or anything like ridiculous.
Mine was so lame. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, I suggested this. I suggested the song "Easy." So easy, oh, easy like a Sunday morning. That song.
Nice.
And only we found out it's a song about cheating.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I was like, well, I can't argue that. I just never thought of it from that point of view. And he's like,
we went really safe and really lame, and we did that song "Home" that was really popular, like "Home, let me go home." That was the first dance that we did during the wedding, like me and my new groom. It's like "Home is where I'm with you." But I remember even thinking at the time, I don't like that song a ton. But me and my dad picked "Heaven" by the Talking Heads. Because it's because we were just kind of like, we didn't want to really do a whole big wedding thing. It's not our kind of vibe. But Heaven, the song, is about like a party that never ends, and like heaven is both a place where nothing ever happens, but it's like the best place in the world. And when the band stops playing, they'll just start playing again, and it won't be any different. And it's the exact the same. And heaven's a place where nothing ever happens, and it's both a beautiful concept and like completely depressing. But that's what we came up with, because everything else had kissing or love or some sexual innuendo. It was like that Afternoon Delight episode of Arrested Development.
We, my dad and I, we ended up doing, it was like, well, it was a two-parter thing. Well, it was, like I said, the What's Going On song, but the very beginning was, we played Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles.
That's beautiful. That's a good one. Beatles are good.
It's a great song. Yeah, it was like a cover version. And then it was like 2 seconds later, then we just like broke out dancing. It was great. Okay, so
the opera.
Speaking of, okay, I do want to kind of go back to Moonstruck and everything.
Sure, we can do that.
Because I kind of mentioned earlier that one of my favorite scenes in the movie is that it makes it feel very much like a play. It's the big finale scene where everything is tied together, in particular, in the kitchen. Now, it's a very, I don't want to say it's a very subtle film, because this is not a movie about subtlety.
Not a subtle film, no.
But there are a few very subtle performances. Like Olympia, I mentioned it before, she is absolutely wonderful in this movie. She steals every scene that she is in. But also the father, I feel like even though as brass and ridiculous as he is in some scenes where he's criticizing his daughter, he, at the same time, he's also it's a very tied down role in very ways outside of his
it is weird. I noticed that too, where it's like the dad thing you think is going to be bigger, or like his discretion is like, it almost sets up like he's this braggart that he goes
where he does like this
and he needs to tell her how great he is at his job, and he's like disrespecting his wife. But then it's actually a very quiet moment where she goes, like, because he's not admitting to having an affair, and then she just goes, at one point she just looks at him and she goes, like, do you still love me? And he's like, yeah. And she goes, well, you need to stop seeing that woman. And it's a perfect moment because it shows you like a non-judgment. She's just telling you what needs to be done in order to keep the marriage going. She's not saying, I am accusing you of this. Like, we're past the part where you tell me it's not happening. If you love me, you need to stop seeing her. And he's like, okay. And she's like, and you need to go to confession. And then he like starts getting upset about it because, you know, he's probably Jewish. No, I don't know. Confession is like a concept to me. But like, I love that moment because it shows again, like this, you're right, a subtlety, like a nuance, which is like, she's not accusing him of cheating. She's saying, if you love me, you need to stop doing this bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I said, it's a very tight film. I mean, it's a very subtle film in many regards, but it's also, it feels like a very tight film. This is not a movie that I feel, because I watched right before I watched Moonstruck, I watched the movie It's Sweet Charity with Shirley MacLaine, and she's wonderful in it. With Bob Fosse.
Who did that? Who musical?
Directed by Bob Fosse. Shirley MacLaine's.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. That's Bob Fosse.
And it's a really weird movie, and it's a delightful movie. Shirley MacLaine's wonderful. Bob Fosse, like I totally get why people really like Bob Fosse.
Yeah.
But it's like a solid 2.5 hour movie, and it feels like it. This movie I don't know how long it is, but it feels like a quick 90-minute movie.
Oh, yeah, it feels like a time episode. Like, it's perfect.
It feels very efficient. It feels very quick, and all the moments feel earned, and the romance feels earned. The fights feel earned. The big finale, all the storylines coming together, everything fits really, really perfectly. And I think that's not only just because of the director, obviously, but the really great writing, because this could have been a really like a movie with really useless scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did there really need to be like the scene, like you said, where they're talking about the moon?
Yeah.
Did that need to be in
the titular line? Yeah.
Maybe not, but it was a great moment.
Have you seen All That Jazz?
Oh, I just messaged back, but no, I have not.
Oh man, okay. That's the thing. That's if you love Bob Fosse, you need to watch All That Jazz. But I just wrote you a little thing. We can talk about that after the show. But I think that would be a good way to handle this. But yeah, I mean, this movie. If you guys haven't seen Moonstruck, please watch it. It's the kind of movie that I feel like is cross. It's cross all genres. Like if you don't like rom-coms, that's fine. You're going to like love Nick Cage in this movie. If you don't like, if you don't like Nick Cage, don't worry. There's like some heartfelt Olympia Dukakis. Like it's a family film without being treacly. It's a hot, sexy romance without being like a gross period. Like one of those gross like monster movies. It is a sexy movie in the way that like, Indiana Jones or like what's his name, like Han Solo is like sexy. Like it is one of those take charge kind of sexiness, and their chemistry is so fucking good. You guys need to see this.
Absolutely. I also think that it's really funny because I don't think Cher would have been as great as she was, and if it wasn't for Nick Cage.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like they bounce off each other so well, which is funny since they were criticized for having a really bad chemistry test when they did chemistry test with studio.
It's so interesting you say that because I wonder why she pulled for him so hard, because his reputation around town, just to tell you, was like pretty terrible. Like even though he had changed his last name, everyone knew he was a Coppola. On the set of Peggy Sue Got Married, which was one of his earliest roles. His earliest one was, of course, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where he lied about his age to get in. Like he was apparently such an ass to Kathleen Turner. She wrote like in her memoirs like like just a diva, jackass, abusive piece of shit he was on set. Like bordering on Dustin Hoffman in what's his name territory in Kramer versus Kramer. But then Cher, like I don't know, against like the instincts of what the Hollywood was saying at the time. Like if the studio didn't want him and he had all the connections of a Coppola, you're right, they do look like cousins. God damn it, they look like
she said that she was going to pull out of the movie if he wasn't cast.
But like, were they friends? Like, what was this based on? His performance?
I don't know. Maybe she looked at him and he's like, "That's him." I don't know what to tell you. That it's him.
This was Nick Cage before like Nick Cage was Nick Cage. So like, I can't imagine like what it was that you. Oops, sorry, I went to the wrong thing.
I stand by. They look so much alike.
They look so much alike. He's so sexy, but I don't know like what he had done up until this point that could have impressed her so much. Like
he did. Maybe it was Valley Girl.
Yeah, it was probably Valley Girl, is what I'm thinking. Have you seen the trailer for his new movie, Pig? It looks really good.
Oh, yeah, it's like John Wick for foodies.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what it is, John Wick for foodies. It might have been...
You didn't kill my dog. Instead, you stole my truffle hunting pig.
You stole my pig! Yeah.
When you describe that plot to anyone, it sounds fake. It doesn't sound real in the slightest.
Wait, it might have been Racing with the Moon, but part of me wants to think that it was Raising Arizona, but it came out the same year, so I don't know how that would have been possible.
I don't know. Maybe it just came down to behind the scenes. Maybe she just met with him in person and it just clicked. Who knows?
Oh,
or maybe they were friends and
he was a Rumblefish. Yeah, I mean, I guess there was just he's got just great chemistry, but he only works in certain things. Other times he sticks out like a sore thumb. This was just probably one of his strongest performances without being like just him being like so wacky that it's just ridiculous and it's just a parody of itself. This is just one of his strongest roles ever, I think.
I definitely think it would be in consideration. It would be. I haven't seen enough Nick Cage movies to create like a top 10 or anything like that. So, but
I want to read into this
I'm
now.
sure
I want
it
to
would be
find out why Cher likes Nick Cage. Cher, Nick Cage,
relationship.
love. Let's see what happens there. Nick Cage, dating? Were they dating possibly? Oh, possibly. Yeah, maybe they were dating or like secretly dating behind the scenes. Huh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I'm just now Googling it. It says Cher, quote, Tom Cruise is one of my top 5 lovers. What the fuck?
Wait, what
Nicolas
movie
Cage-
were they in together?
Sorry?
I know they like supposedly dated like in the early 90s or late 80s or something.
Maybe she's talking about a role. Okay, so Nicolas Cage talks about his new career, or his career and his love life. Blah, blah. He does, however, talk about Moonstruck. I really didn't want to make it, so he didn't even want to be in Moonstruck. I want to make Vampires Kiss because I was still trying to live my punk rock dreams. I did not want to be in a big, splashing romantic comedy with Cher. Interesting. So it was, like, really her that, like, pushed for this super hard?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Although she's like, I literally bet me being involved in this movie. That's a lot of confidence, and I respect the fuck out of that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've been on here for close to an hour and a half.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, we're going to be wrapping it up here shortly, but you guys over in the chat, I would love to know your big thoughts on the movie. If you have any, like, what were some of your favorite moments, favorite characters, actors, etc., or favorite lines? I'm kind of curious if you're doing deep dives into the lines.
I want to hear it. I also want to talk about, again, just more crazy Nick Cage stuff about how Francis Ford Coppola nearly fired him because of the voice he insisted on using on Peggy Sue Got Married, which, by the way, if you watch it, it's such a choice. It's so fucking weird. Tom's like these twists through his nose. It's very weird. Guys, in the chat, yeah, tell us what you want us to do here.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have some rough ideas about what I mean, talk to me, Alex. What do you think about the plan for next week?
I think that is a solid plan. I think it's a perfect plan, to be honest.
Okay, so guys, we're gonna keep going. This month has a theme, and that theme is this screenwriter / director, because we're gonna do the one that I haven't seen now, and I don't want to see, because it seems like a bummer. We're gonna watch Doubt. We're gonna go Wild Out in Time. We're gonna go Moonstruck. Now we're gonna go switch gears completely, go to Doubt, and then the following week, Joe versus the Volcano. So then we'll just wrap it all up in a tight little bow.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like having whiplash about this guy.
I will be sad we're not going to be diving into one of my favorite animated films of all time that he actually wrote.
What? We can do it. What is it?
Oh, it's okay. The movie is called We're Back. It was like 94, 95. And it's a 90s animated movie about time traveling dinosaurs.
Wait, Alex, can we just sub out Doubt for that movie? Because that sounds dope as hell. That sounds like my alley.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so guys, instead of Doubt, which sounds lame, we're doing time traveling dinosaur.
There's like medicinal cereal. There's a guy with a weird
Is this a real movie? What the hell is it? Was this out in theaters? Or is this like
it was. It's so good.
Wait, was it out in theaters ever? Was this?
It was.
Are you serious?
No, okay. It's an animated movie. It's about time traveling dinosaurs. It's so good.
For some reason, like Cinderella meets Alice in Wonderland's on their back. You just said 3 of my magic words: time travel. I'm counting that as one word. No, 2 words: time travel, and then also dinosaurs, I guess.
And also, it takes place dominantly in Manhattan. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and New York Jew. I wonder what the dinosaurs think of Jew Italians.
Mm-hmm.
Mukbang Review says, thanks for having Alex Mack on. She's the co-host of the show, bro. She's always on. She's amazing, knows way too much about film. Have either of you visited the theater so far? Thank you for that question. But to be clear, Alex Mack is always on this
I co-host the show. Next week I will be hosting the episode, I promise.
Also, I've had this question for a while now. Before we get to your question, Mukbang, did your name imply that you review other people's mukbang videos? Like you watch other people eat and you go, did not have enough mouth sounds for me. And like, or are you like, what's your relationship with the mukbang?
This meal does not have enough sauce.
Knows way too much about film. Have either of you visited theaters so far?
That's a great question. So wait, have you visited theaters, Alex?
No, I have not. We had family in town recently, and we planned to go to a movie theater, and ended up not because of time constraints. But
I have gone to the theater. I went originally for the Real Rejects took us to, it was very sweet, and they invited us to a screening of Godzilla vs. Kong. So we saw that in theaters, but then we also rented out a theater for my birthday and invited a bunch of Schmoedown people, like for a movie club, and we saw Cruella in theaters. And it was, I'm not saying this because of recency bias or the fact that I changed my entire look based on a trailer. It was like one of the best movies to come back to theater, like to movie theater for. But then we're also seeing F9, I think, this weekend. So that's
that's gonna be fun in a movie theater. I just love Emma Thompson so much. I think she's by far one of the most underrated comedic actresses.
Yeah.
And I've seen a bunch of scenes with her in Cruella, and I'm like,
here's the thing you need to know about Cruella. You don't need to care at all about 101 Dalmatians characters because no one does. It literally is a heist movie a la Ocean's 11 mixed with Devil Wears Prada mixed with Joker, and it is the best.
It did kind of piss me off when I learned that Cruella didn't wear fur because that's like a definitive aspect of her character. But I'm like, no.
I have a theory about what's going on there.
Version of Cruella, so
it's an alt-universe version of Cruella. They've created a multiverse version. I won't go into more than that. We don't know that she doesn't wear fur. We just know that the relationship are different.
She has Dalmatian pets.
No, she steals Dalmatians.
She steals, but they follow her around, and she pets them.
Not quite. I would say go see the movie. There definitely is a different relationship she has with dogs, just in general. But no. Spoiler alert, so I will literally cover your ears if you have not seen the movie and don't want to be spoiled. I'll give you a 5-second count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dalmatians killed her mom. Dalmatians straight up.
That scene was also, it was everywhere. It's on YouTube. It was everywhere on Twitter.
But I don't like to spoil stuff. A Dalmatian killed her mother, and so if that's not enough reason for her to get revenge on specifically the Dalmatian that killed her mother, and yet, it's still such a good twist. It's still so good. The relationship, with the dog stuff, it's so good, man. Go see Cruella. A Dalmatian killed her fucking mother. And it's not even her mother. I mean, spoilers. Okay, anyway. Guys, I feel like this is the part where I have to shut up before I spoil anything else. I cannot wait to watch We're Back. Let's see where it's available, Alex. Is it around
I do, actually, now that I see it, I really want to double check to see if it's available somewhere.
Yeah, it's on YouTube and Apple TV.
I love this movie. I hope you'll love it too, because otherwise we're gonna have to stop being friends.
No, look, Alex. I don't know how much you know how hard I am for time travel movies, even if they suck. I don't care. I just fucking love time travel movies, and this one seems right off my things. Just going off the film synopsis, it depicts 4 intelligent anthropomorphized dinosaurs. Prehistoric beings have gone to the present time and become intelligent, eating a grain cereal. Who wants dinosaurs to be personally seen by children? It looks amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Something I do want to clarify is that this is just one of my favorite animated movies of all time. It's incredibly sentimental with me. I grew up with it. I had the VHS. I played it a bazillion times every summer, and I just loved it so much. But I will also just put in the conversation as one of my personal top 10 non-Disney animated films, personally.
Well, it's by the Feifel Goes West studio, right? I can just tell from the animation. Let me Google it. But it looks like the Feifel Goes West people.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it is. Steven Spielberg's Amblimation, distributed by Universal. It's storyboard and adaptation from the production of American Tale, Feifel Goes West. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did it. Feifel. It was released the same year as Jurassic Park. That's hilarious. It was marketed as the family-friendly equivalent of Jurassic Park, despite the dinosaur mania. Oh my god. I'm dying, Alex. We're going to watch the shit out of this movie. And NerdChronic is saying that he will write a quiz for it.
Please.
Next Thursday?
Drew, please text me back. Like, text me before you start the video, being like, we're about to start watching this movie, and text me right after you finish. Like, please.
Okay, I might just need to be on FaceTime with you the entire experience.
Honestly, why not?
Alex, I love you. This has been so much fun. I like it. I like these conversations where we can like go off topic for a bit and Black Beast can show up. I think it's fun and we can sing along. It doesn't always have to be so serious, but I love doing the show with you. It's always a blast, and I cannot wait to talk about this movie next week. Alex, where can people find you?
You can find me right here on Twitter at @real_AlexMack. You can also find me being a part of the Call to Action podcast, where I do a whole bunch of stuff as well. I have been trying to put together a tournament for rookie competitors for Schmoebaits. However, people are not responding to me, so I guess I'm not going to host it, unfortunately. So, work in progress.
Guys, losers, you losers, show up to Schmoebaits. I think the problem is they probably don't know that much. Some of the rookies don't like know that much about the Schmoedown lore.
I asked when it came down to Schmoebaits and everything, I actually asked several of the people. I was like, hey, you're more than welcome to take on, like, try hosting the show or whatever. A handful of people tried. They couldn't. Yeah. They didn't. Some
notes that might make it more accessible for people who might be a little intimidated by not knowing the Schmoedown backstory. But that's for another time. Guys, you can find moi on this channel. Oh yeah, please like and subscribe. I am not always like this. Sometimes I'm more hyper. So if you like that energy, just wait for it. We do shows almost every day here. Mondays and Thursdays, the VideoChronic pop culture quizzes with me and NerdChronic. We just did one on Labyrinth, which was dope. Chris Ingles' wife, Lisa, walked away with the grand prize on that. I think only missing one question. We're doing something tomorrow. And then I think we have to skip Monday or do Monday a little bit later because I'm doing a podcast, somebody else's podcast. And then Tuesday, Cinema Bias, 8 p.m., possibly time change, so TBD. We might be doing it a little bit earlier in the future. So just keep note of any scheduling changes, which you can always check out on my Patreon, patreon.com/VideoDrew. Everything social media, VideoDrew. Also, if you guys like, I don't know, Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I'm definitely doing sales of them now on eBay and Facebook. And
hold on, where's my phone at?
Where's your phone? Guys, I'm saying original base set. This is all the Fossil edition. I also have the new cards, which are ridiculous and say silly things on them. I could do a whole QVC stream on how much I love doing this Pokemon stuff. But check it out on eBay, Mercari, Depop, all the selling apps. Other than that, Live in the Dark with VideoDrew is just a soft reboot. Go ahead.
I have Pokemon Go.
I love Pokemon Go. That's how I got into Pokemon. But Alex?
I have Pokemon Go. This is my character. I'm Tuna Mac 125.
Are you still on Pokemon Go? Because I was pretty sure me and Ryan Johnson are still the only two people on Pokemon Go.
I just downloaded it for the first time and at the very beginning. Yeah, that's me. I'm literally, my name is Tuna Mac 125.
Nice. Wait, I'm gonna friend you right now because 2016, the summer of my divorce, I found Pokemon Go, having no idea what Pokemon was.
I'm level
got
4.
so into it. It saved my whole thing. My Pokemon name, I think, is just VideoDrew, but friend me. I need to get back into it. But then, Alex, I've gone from not knowing anything about Pokemon to 3 binders full of Pokemon cards that are super big.
Do you want me to quiz you on doing the Poke Rap?
No. Well, here's the thing. I don't care about their whole extended legacy. What I like about them is imagining my version of it. Eric is making me watch Pokemon, the TV show, and it's fine and all, but here's my thing. If I want to look at Pokemon, I want to imagine what their deal is. I don't want someone to tell me. I want to imagine, what this guy has to say to, this guy right here. I want to know. I want to come up with my own story about what their deals are, why they hang out with each other, why these two are going to be best friends, like a dark Flappy and a dark Slowbro. What do they have in common? What do they want to talk about? Why some of them like have really ridiculous like stuff going on? The new Pokemon have like the most crazy freaking powers. This guy's power is Ascension.
Oh, Snow King? No, wait, Smog?
That's coughing.
Not Smog.
The new gen of Pokemon is ridiculous. Huntail has Scary Face.
Oh, that's a new one.
Exploud has Ambient Noise and Hyper Voice, so that might be my spirit one.
Ambient Voice.
And then my personal favorite is Snom. It just says Call for Family. That's his power. Call for family and just wait on the bench.
You know what? I respect that. I respect that.
Guys, it's been so great. Sorry to get into the Pokemon thing. I'll just go my own QVC show about it. Love you all. Check me out. Check Alex out. And come back next week for the world's most bonkers movie that I'm going to watch ASAP. We're back. Great. Alex, I love you. So wait, we got one more thing from Mukbang saying, Alex, great to see you and Drew. I don't review mukbangs. It's just a name. Great show. Many thanks. Anything good on streaming? Yeah. Wait, please don't read it out loud.
Alex, great to see you and Drew. I don't review mukbangs. It's just a name. Great show. Many thanks. Anything good on streaming?
Have you seen anything good on streaming before we head out?
I've actually been binging Alienist on HBO Max. There's only 2 seasons. And there's like less than 12, 13 episodes total.
Daniel Bruhl is sexy as hell.
It's such a really great period crime show. If you're into like true crime or if you're into anything, I'm really big into like period dramas and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I was just really into it.
Like Captain Zemo and Sherlock Holmes, right?
Yeah, it's dark.
Yeah. I would just say I'll be basic bitch and say if you're not watching Loki, check out Loki. Even if you don't like Marvel, check out Loki. It's showrunner is a Rick and Morty writer, and the director is this chick who did this show Sex Education on Netflix. It looks like Don Draper on LSD. The show is fucking bonkers. It's so good. It looks so good. It's awesome. It's like the Mandalorian level good for a Marvel show. I'm also just re-binged Fleabag for the second time and Invincible. You can't go wrong with Invincible.
I haven't seen Invincible, to be honest.
Oh, I only watched it because Robert Kirkman did that horror exhibition match. But yeah, check all that stuff out. I heard Mare of East sounds good, but I can't recommend it because I'm not a big fan of those kind of shows, which are boring to me. But I hear people like it, so check it out. And then anything else? I feel like there's some stuff I'm missing, but we should head off now. So thank you guys so much for joining us. I love you. That's not weird. I'm owning it. Happy Pride Month, everybody, and we'll see you later.